What up, what up, what up? Not fight. Y'all know how we doing it right. Funk, not fight. Coming on with Body Slam, yo. Ohio, Trigger, Patty. Funk Chronicles. All the Funketeers, Funk Ambassadors, and two Funk Soldiers. You have landed and descended upon Funk from the front seat. 9 on the Grind TV. I'm your host, number 9, right here. Every Saturday, we're kicking it. This month is Funk Not Fight Month. Oh, yeah. Nothing but the ambassadors of Funk on this week, yo. Oh, everybody bounce. Everybody say Funk Not Fight. Oh, we getting down tonight. Come on, clap your hands like this. New York City, my hometown. Bay Shore, shout out. Staten Island, Charlotte, Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx. Oh, Jersey, you heard what's up, Donna? Give me a call. Love you. Funk from the front seat, y'all. 9 on the Grind TV. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Funky Philly Dilly. Detroit, Minneapolis. Everybody say Funk, not fight, y'all. We'll be running that Bootsy Collins video later on. My special guest today, Tim Gillies in the house. Funk ambassador extraordinaire, y'all. Oh, I'm feeling it today, yo. I'm feeling it today. Shout out to all the true Funk soldiers around the world, holding it down. Funk not fight. Funk from the front seat, 9 on the Grind TV, yo. Shout out to my man Kansas Philly, what up, bro? Shout out to Allen, Florida, thank you, bro. Georgia, DC, Chocolate City, home of the Funketeers Ball. Shout out to my man Gabe and Mike Hampton up in Detroit. I saw the EG, the IG. I'm feeling you, bro. Can't wait. I miss you guys. Love y'all. Y'all the Funk fan for life. Shout out to Keith Jackson, P-Funk Radio. Oh, Funk the Dome, the president. Ah, I got you, bro. All right, let's go around the United States. Oklahoma, we got you. Minneapolis, Detroit, Canada, Dubai, Chicago, Illinois, Kentucky. What up? I got a new fan over there. I saw the vote. Thank you. Let's pump this shit up. Oh! California, Robert Savannah. Oh, we got you. Chicago, we got you. New Orleans, we got you. North and South Carolina, we got you. Big love to my nephew, Pat Virginia. I love you, bro. We got you, man. You gonna beat that shit. Big shout out to all the Funketeers overseas, Germany, Australia. I got you. DJ Cocolino in Italy. I got you. Elizabeth in Ireland. I got you. Daddy Souls in Germany. I got you. We still pumping the hard for you. Hawaii, Samoans, doing the Humpty Hump. China, Tokyo, Japan, Tokyo, Yo, Dubai, Africa, Colombia, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, we got you. All around the world, Peru. Let's Body Slam, Funk, not fight, yo. We're going to be showing that video later. With our special guest today, Tim Kinley. My man, Mr. Markley, extraordinaire, is back in the house. Who was that, yo? Say what? Funk, not fight. Oh, we going to do it right. Nothing but the book right here. Don't forget, at the end of the month, we got none other than Peppermint Patty coming on. Yes. So, y'all stay tuned for that. July 29th. You'll be beaming in right here from the Funk Ship 1. And maybe we'll see who knows. You never know, Bubba. I'm feeling good today all around the world. Love this funk. I love y'all y'all so much, man, and thank you for all the love and support. Tony Cam, what up? Shout out to the Nappy Funk Army 2.0. Y'all blew shit up the other night at the courthouse, man. Big shout out to OCMC. Yeah. Yo, when I get off the stage and be tired, I'm just gonna do this shit here. You never know when that day's gonna be. Maybe soon. Y'all gotta stay tuned for that shit. You never know what the funk is up to. We got a new song dropping soon, so I'll tell y'all about that too. Everybody clap your hands like this. Say funk, not fight. Everybody say funk, not fight. I love y'all out there, man. Nothing but the funk. Funk from the front seat. And on the Grind TV. We are upon you today. Just chilling out. I'm going to bring my man Mark Lee. Mark, you back there, bro? I need to see your face, man. Where you been at, man? You been vacating on me and ain't seen you in a while. You cheating on me or what? What's going on, bro?
Right now, trying to get you a guest on. That's what's going on. So
hey, I ain't mad at that. You can work very, very hard for that. But I just wanted to see your face and let my audience know, like, I didn't kill you off or nothing, or you ain't somewhere and gone off to CBS or NBC and done left our little show, and that you ain't over there in D.C. running for president and getting all your ducks in a row for that. And I know how it is, so I ain't mad at it. Anyway, man, I'm going to get you back off. Just want to say hi and see your beautiful face. Mr. Mark Lee's in the house today. What up, people? How you doing, man? George the Funky Vinci down in Texas. I love you, man. Shout out for all the states that I did miss. I'm sorry, and I try to get y'all somewhere, but I be just running through stuff off the top of my head. Y'all know how I do. It's always a freelance thing, always an organic thing. This is Funk Not Fight Month on Funk from the Front Seat. And before we get started, a few shout outs. JTRP, P-Funk Radio. Love you guys. Gabe Gonzalez on Wednesday nights. Philly Phil, get on the Funk Bus on Tuesdays. Robin Circle of Peace still funking down there. Larry Funkster Jones on Saturday. A lot of the supporters from, Dayton, Ohio, be doing the whole funk thing with the Dayton radio scene, the Funk Chronicles. And we run that on 9 on the Grind TV every Sunday at 3 o'clock. You can check that out. We got some new shows coming up with, Jen Vanderputten and George the Funk Vinci putting some art shows together and some garden shows together. So we working on that as well, trying to expand our little network here and make it work and monetize what we can. So, anytime y'all want to drop a little something in my PayPal, at Zach Robinson PayPal, feel free. You can find me, look me up. I'm all over the map. We're working on some things for next year already for the Nappy at Funk Army videos and working on, bigger venues and things like that. So remember, man, this is important as we go down this list. HJ Entertainment, Kane and Jams, of course, Bootsy and Patty, of course, all the Club Funketeer ambassadors and all the Club Funketeers around the world. Keep doing what y'all doing. Tony Cam and the Funk All-Stars, and I'll be doing something with them on the 29th back in Lynchburg, Virginia, for the kids that we're teaching at the Funk School. So that's really, really dope. Afterglow 92416. Donna, hit me up, please. I got some merch. I just don't know where to send it. Q&A Entertainment. I love you, man. Q, hit me up, man. I got to talk. You my consigliere, so I need you, man. Brooke Clagett, my Funk Angel. I see you doing your thing, man. Booking bands. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Just keep knocking it out. We're trying to keep funk alive as best we can, man. Patricia Diori's art. Curtis Wilcox and George the Funk Vinci, and I got all this stuff like right here, so it's for you guys to see. Thank you guys so much for always doing what y'all do, man. Dr. Brookenstein taking care of the website for since 1998. And it was at 23 years now, something like that. So, he's been with us. He's been with us from the beginning. So I'm loving that. DJ Coccolino and Italy, thank you for always taking my funk and then turning it into house and dance over there. So that's dope. David Webb, of course, Funk Chronicles up in Dayton, Ohio. And we're going to be dedicating a nice thing that we're working on, collage and things like that. And it's going to be an honor to just hang our stuff up next to all the great Funketeers that came through. And we're working on that, man. And that's going to be really cool. It's going to be my Nappy Head Funk Army OGs because, they were the ones that started the whole thing, so it's going to be about them. And they deserve that. And that's really mad cool. So I'm happy about that. And of course, everybody out there that's watching, tune into the show. We run it at 6, we run it at 12, so you guys can check it out. Shout out to my girl, Chrissy Q. Rollins. Thank you for the crystal. I needed this again. I gave mine away to somebody that needed it, so I needed it. I'm rocking. This is my human costume. I'm really an alien. So I'm really trying to tell you, this is my alien costume, and I'm really trying to be human down here on a loveless planet. And we're going to start there. And I don't mean loveless like everybody doesn't love. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, shout out to my boo. What up? Love you. Love you, love you, love you, Christy. My friend Janice, who hope to see you later for tea. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we have to understand, like Christy says all the time, this is the planet where chaos happens. So if we're on this planet and we chose to come here and this is our mission and we want to do all this stuff and, we want to make the world a better place and we had to experience all this hurt, pain, and suffering in order to move on to that next level, so be it. But while we are here, the lessons that I think we should try to heed and learn and take into consideration is that it's all about the love. OVE. It's all about that. And no matter what race, creed, color, religion, sexual orientation you are, it does not matter. What really matters is that we all strive, as my friend Robert Roskin would always say, for this unconditional love. We need that. Unconditional love is when people like my bandmates play for free. That's unconditional love. Unconditional love is when you're tired, but you got one more thing to do and you're so tired you can't do it, but somebody calls you for a favor, like my girl, and she runs over there to help out a friend. That's unconditional love. Unconditional love is like, people that stick with you through thick and thin, help you out and never ask for the favor in return. People that will look out for your kids, that babysit your kids at the last minute when they may have plans, but they love you and your children enough to know that, hey, you got something important to do. I don't. Unconditional love. Unconditional love is when we tolerate, and the key word, and I thought about this, I'm not going to preach today, but I feel like my father, so you may hear the sermon today. When we tolerate each other's differences, and I'm going to say that again, when we tolerate each other's differences, that's unconditional love, because we are all different. None of us march to the same drum. None of us wear the same outfits. None of us eat the same foods. None of us think the same thoughts. We are all different, uniquely different, but uniquely bonded together. That's the beauty of the Creator. He set it up in such a way to where everyone is needed. But as my big brother Bootsy Collins would say, no one is necessary. Everyone is needed. No one is necessary. I'm listening, big bro. So, we need each other. But truth be told, to quote Funkadelic, we're just a biological speculation sitting here vibrating, and we don't know what we're vibrating about. The animal instinct in me makes me want to defend me, makes me want to live when it's time to die. All right? That's what we are. If you look at the grand scheme of things in the universe, we're just like whatever. Carl Sagan said it. I always tell people to read this book, A Pale Blue Dot. Okay? So as a pale blue dot, what are we going to do down here? We're just all like this nervous energy and fighting and this and that. And I hate you and I hate this and I hate that and I hate this and I hate that. And higher intelligence and higher people that vibrate at a higher level, and people that also understand that there's a bigger picture other than the one book they tried to shove down your throat. And believe me, I'm not knocking nobody's book, but please just don't knock mine. If you hear someone reference, hey, man, the Book of Enoch, or if you hear someone reference, hey, the Mahabharata, or if you hear someone reference the Quran, or if you hear someone reference the Christian Bible, or if you hear someone reference, the Judeo-Christian Bible, which I have read all of them. Trust me, I'm 65 years old. I've had a lot of time to read. Or if you hear, an agnostic, Or if you hear somebody say, hey, I may not agree with you, but I can roll with you. I got your back. Believe me, when soldiers and military men, and shout out to you guys, police officers, military, firemen, policemen, people that drive the ambulances, when they work together, they don't really care what the other person is. All they say, and I talk to a lot of people in those fields, they just want to make sure the other person got their back. And we need to take that concept and we need to transfer that to how we live our daily lives. We basically just want to make sure that somebody has our back, and yeah, I get it, Mark. We good. No worries, bro. I got it. We are trying to make sure that when we run across a situation, and as we learn and get better at these things, we don't overreact. Saad Guru teaches that. Billy Carson teaches that. And if you're ever in need of a good podcast to listen to Danica Patrick. Besides mine, listen to her. I'm trying to get her on the show, because she's like, she blew my mind, What up? What up? What up? Good morning. How are you? Have a blessed day. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. When we look at people that are telling us all these good things, and all of the people that are doing this, what we feel is negative and dark energy. Like Chrissy said, the dark is really just the light trying to be the light. So sometimes we may need to show them. And I don't think we should let people personally try to harm us physically. But I think now in this country, we have gotten so soft when it comes to people saying things. It's not nice to say mean, cruel things, of course, about anybody or anybody's lifestyle or anybody's religion or whatever. No, of course, that's not nice. But at the same time, people are entitled to their opinions, right? So if their opinion is different from yours, there's no need to hate on them for it. That's my point. You don't have to hate on people for their opinions, because their opinions are their opinions. This is something that has been really hard for me to learn. I'm finally at that threshold. I'm at the door. It's ready to open up. And I might too have learned this valuable lesson. I cannot be judging others because of their opinions, because it's their opinion. And I've been on this track for a long time, and I actually felt some personal spiritual growth. And I really think that that's something that I personally needed to do. And this way I could go out and help others try to understand it and deal with that. Because I'm not a counselor, I'm not a certified therapist, or none of that. But I did work in healthcare for 22 years. I do understand psychology. I do understand the mindset of everybody across the board. Now I say, Dr. Brooks was back from vacay. What up, bro? I missed you, man. Sonia, what up, sweetheart? I love you. Love you, love you, love you, man. Yeah, so I think that qualifies me. I think that qualifies me, because when you can deal with so many people of so many different nationalities, especially in healthcare, anybody that's a nurse, and I know, Sonia, you want, we have to put all our differences aside when we're trying to make someone feel better. The industry that Dr. Brookenstein is in, the tech industry, he has to deal with so many different people, Love Jones, what up? Yeah, we have a lot of growth to do, but I see so much growth and positivity out there that I'm going to be on the side of optimism. I'm not going to give up. I think that we should all, fight the bloodstained banner and keep it live and keep it moving and keep us together as best we can without the negativity. So without further ado, Mr. Mark Lee, we got Tim Kinley on. I see you.
We do have Tim Kinley on, so that's what I was going to do, is let you know he's on. I'm going to bring him on, get me off. Y'all can come back and get me on later on. But
I know you just want to get some airtime. You're making up for your lack of airtime. I ain't mad at you, bro. Tim Funk, what up?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, man. I'm sorry you got to go shortly, but yes, man. Sorry you had difficulties getting on. How you doing?
I'm doing better now.
Good, good. Nice to have you. Welcome to Funk from the Front Seat. I like your quick thoughts, and just give us a quick background on you before I read your bio real quick, and just let me know what time you actually have to go so I can.
No, I can stay with you for as long as you want.
Oh, great. That's awesome. Then good. Then we can start at the top. Ladies and gentlemen, I usually do a big whole spiel and the music, and they bring you on, but okay. I'll rewind that, and I'll be like, ladies and gentlemen, Club Funketeer ambassador, my fellow state Funketeer down here in North Kakalaki.
Well, South Kakalaki.
South Kakalaki. Why was I saying North? All right, South Kakalaki. Yeah, close enough. Down here hanging out with us. And I'm glad you made it, and I appreciate you, man. So, tell us a little bit about, who you are and what you do and your connection to the funk. But take your time, please. No rush.
Right. My name is Tim Kenley. I am a archivist and historian for Parliament Funkadelic. I've been in that capacity since 1978.
Wow.
I have been involved in numerous documentaries, CD compilations, and CD compilations, documentaries, and also many published works as well. In the past 5 years, I have already hosted events with both George Clinton and Bootsy Collins. So
could you speak up just a little bit?
Okay, I'm going to try to.
Okay, no worries. Or just sit close. Yeah, no worries. I forgot. No worries.
Do you want me to? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. Yeah, a little bit better. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, that's basically what I do. That's basically what I've been doing since 1978, and hopefully the funk community has benefited from it.
Yo, we got your back, bro. First of all, I'm honored to meet a fellow Funketeer. Every time I meet a new fellow Funketeer, I feel grateful because, the amount of energy it takes to do what you do since 1978, brother, I applaud you. People do not realize how that is and then still deal with your daily lives. So number one.
Exactly. When I'm not doing this, I am a professional caregiver for my developmentally disabled sister, Lynette. So yes, it's a delicate balance.
God bless you, man. And God bless your sister Lynette. And I can see you're a true funk angel. And thank you for sharing that, man. When you got into this whole music thing, first of all, you're originally from South Carolina?
I was born in Brooklyn and raised in Queens.
Ah, my God, that's what's up. See, this is why we connected. See, New York is in the house.
There you go.
So Patty kept telling me about you, and we was trying to connect. And I was like, okay, Patty, I'm going to connect. We're going to try it. We were playing phone tag, but I know she'll be happy because she sent me a text the other day. And she said, good job, to both of us. Thank you, guys, and all this other stuff. So Patty's always hitting me up, pushing us all up, man. And I love her and Boosie for that, man. What was your first experience listening to or finding out about the Parley of Funkadelic thing?
March of 1978.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Yes, I was sneaking around the corner from my house to hang out with some friends. At this time, disco and dance music was the rage, but so was the funk. My friend had a tape that, we was playing, we were dancing in front of his house. To this day, I almost remember the sequence of the tape. The first song was Dance With Me by Peter Brown, a ridiculous classic. And then the second song was Flashlight. It stopped me dead in my tracks. I never heard any song approached or executed like that. I just kept saying to my friend, play that again and again and again. To this day, I still do not tire of hearing that record because it made me the Funketeer that I am today. Then you fast forward a couple of months. I was getting ready to graduate from junior high, and my sister was going into the 10th grade. So my older sister bought my second youngest sister a stereo with some records, and my parents bought me a little boombox. One of the records that she gave my sister was Player of the Year by Boosie's Rubber Band. And when I started to read the credits, I was like, that's the same names that are on that Parliament single. And I was like, okay, I'm starting to, I think I'm onto something here.
Yeah.
All right. So fast forward another couple of months, I hear about this great, slightly fast-paced dance record by the band Funkadelic. Now, mind you, I didn't make the connection between Parliament and Funkadelic because I had never seen them live. So when I saw this record, I was like, this is a great record. This is ridiculous. Again, the same names: George Clinton, Gary Scheider, Junie Morrison, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, something's up. So by the time that P-Funk dropped Motor Booty Affair in November of that year, I was completely hooked. That was it. There was no turning back. I spent the rest of the next year just ransacking the cutout bins for older Funkadelic records, because a lot of people don't know right now. You see records from P-Funk that go for like $50 to $75 a piece. People, let me tell you, during that time, 1979, I was getting P-Funk records for like $2, $3 a piece. My first copy of Maggot Brain cost $7. Wow. That's exactly how it was. Okay. From that moment on, I was a Funketeer. There was no turning back.
Well, I know I'm probably a little bit older because I'm listening to your timeline and chronicle timeline of it when you first, the mothership first beamed you in and then did your thing, man. And you're getting some really nice comments. I'm going to read one of them. Great contributions to the music industry. Tim Kenley, yet you are such a modest, loving, kind gentleman. Tons of respect to you. Best wishes for your continued strength and motivation. God bless you. Thank you, sir, for that beautiful words.
Yes, thank you so much. Any words of encouragement and appreciation appreciate themselves.
Well, I think that when we look at that particular timeline of Brian McDonald had a comment. I'm not sure what it means. I think things fell through, but you're still my funk brother. Justin, what up? You remember me? We used to meet at the clubs where P-Funk was playing. So he said, hey, we used to hang out or something like that. I think the timeline, when that era was happening, music was starting to change. Like you said, you heard a backbeat dance song from Funkadelic. Now, their music was danceable, but Funkadelic, hit it and quit it. America Eats Is Young, and Miss Lucifer's Love, and Maggot Brain, and all of the harder edge stuff.
Exactly.
Right. And when I myself too, as a Funketeer, when I first heard the album Funkadelic, right, I was like, oh man, One Nation of just got it. This just gonna be banging, right? And it was banging, but I had to adapt to what they was changing to do because the music had changed. George always being a forward thinker, Bootsy a forward thinker, innovator. I was like, okay, this isn't much as about that hard rock kind of thing. They're kind of transitioning. I could hear Mike Hampton, doing different things with his solos and hear different melodic more. I just heard more stuff. The times had changed, the industry has changed, technology had changed, and I just heard a lot more stuff. And I'm sorry. Thank you, ma'am. I didn't realize because I get so many people. So Ms. Love Jones.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, because I said, sir, I am very sorry. I never want to mistake that.
Yeah,
so please, you can slap me on Facebook if you want. I'll accept that.
Right.
I don't know who's sometimes. And that's my producer's fault. I'm going to blame that one on Mark because he should know. He should be telling me these things. Mark set me up just now.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to get you, Mark. I'm going to get you for that. No, he didn't. But back to what I was saying, and I apologize, ma'am. Back to what I was saying, I think we all had figured, okay, it was just going to be one way. And then that's when I realized, even as a musician, that you have to change.
Of course.
You have to adapt, and it's all come full circle now because, look, here we are, man.
Exactly.
Tell me, Club Funketeers, when did Patty approach you about that?
When did Patty what? I'm sorry.
When did Patty approach you about being a Club Funketeer?
Shortly after the event we had here with Bootsy Collins in 2018, we started, Patty and I and Bootsy and I, we started, continuously checking out with each other. And she came up with this idea with the whole thing about, the Club Funketeers thing. Obviously, I wanted to be a part of it because I want to be a part of anything that helps the funk to enrich itself, always. So we started talking, and that's why I landed here right now. I'm a proud Club Funketeer ambassador, and always will be.
The amount of Club Funketeers around the world, and we all connect, is such a beautiful thing, because I know I was sitting on my porch during COVID, just sitting there playing my bass, just watching people go by, social distancing, locked in my apartment. Bro, it was brutal. I get a call, and I was like, Patty Collins. I was like, this got to be some kind of mistake. I said, she can't be, because she must have not meant to call me. I said, there's no way she's reaching out to me. And she's so, how Patty is always so elegant and regal. And she's like, hey, what you doing? How's this and that? How are you doing with COVID, this and that? And I say, I'm hanging in there. She said, hey, would you like to be a Club Funketeer? And before she said whatever, I was like, yes.
Of course.
I said, yes, whatever.
What else
to finish? Just yes.
What else are you going to do? If Patty asks you to do something, you're in. That's it.
That's it. That's it. It's like the mob.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I was like, boy, oh boy, I've been waiting for this opportunity.
Exactly.
And do I got a lot to give? Believe me, I'm bringing the heat, bringing the smoke. They ain't gonna want none of this smoke when I'm finished with it, because I'm gonna bring so much Club Funketeer ambassador smoke, So yeah, absolutely. That's how I met you. I mean, look how we all meet each other, man.
Always.
And it's amazing. I'm putting up some more comments.
I would love to know who these people are, because I think I know a lot of these people face to face, but because they're under a title, I don't know who they are.
Same with me, yeah. People, they got their nicknames and stuff, so I'm like, ooh, okay. Exactly. I know. Now, Brian and I stay in touch. Most of the people here, for sure, I'm friends with everybody here on Facebook.
Right, of course.
So, I'm trying to just always make sure I hit everybody up. And as my band has gotten busy, I've been trying really, really hard to stay on top of all my pages and everything else. So we're doing a lot better. David Brooks says, man, you the bomb. Thank you,
that's David
Love
Brooks.
Jones, for forgiving me.
I didn't know that's great, David. I love David.
That's Dr. Brookenstein. That's Dr. Brookenstein. I can identify some of them for you.
I know Brian, because Brian used to work at St. Mark's Sounds in the Village.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know all of them, absolutely. Yeah. And Lucy Lovejohns, I don't know who that is. It's
this beautiful woman. I know, and I remember seeing her on Facebook somewhere. But again, it's so many things. There's so many things going on. So we try to make sure we acknowledge everybody, because it's very, very important. And again, I opened my monologue about unconditional love. This right here, all these people taking time out,
of course,
to dig what we doing. That's unconditional love, man.
I just want to jump in with
something. Just organic, bro.
About the COVID thing.
Yeah.
Because I know how you feel during the COVID thing. Questlove and I think D-Nice gave me the inspiration to do some P-Funk mixes to do Facebook Live P-Funk mixes. And I thought this was just what the people want. People are on lockdown. They're depressed. Let's put a little funk in their lives. And I was having a great time until the powers that be, sit down upon and said, no, you can't. And it wasn't just the powers that be. It was Time Warner Music. They just completely shut down, not shut it down, but muted part of any mix that I did that involved anything that they owned. And I was like, come on. Nobody, neither Questlove nor D-Nice nor myself are charging for these mixes. We're trying to make people's lives better in the middle of one of the most catastrophic events of our time, which is very little compared to how catastrophic it was, and yet they just couldn't see that. So I'm just very glad that you brought up that thing about COVID, because we needed, if we needed the funk, it was during COVID. You know what I'm saying?
I think when you say catastrophic, I think you're definitely pointing out something that was undersold and overbidded, if you understand what I'm saying, because we forget we're still in a kind of malaise, you know. We're still post-COVID PTSD-ish, trying to find our niche again.
Right.
You guys are blowing up the chat line. I love y'all. Keep it up. I'm gonna put them up. Boom, we roll with it. And I think Funkadelic and P-Funk gave us a sense of hope, because we realized, you know, you may be in South Carolina. I may be in North Carolina. Sonya may be in Texas, you know, and we all still had that thing, funk. You know, they couldn't take that away.
No.
They couldn't stop that music, because the internet said, listen, here's the one good thing y'all could do with the internet. Now you can all connect.
Of course.
How did you feel about that?
About what exactly?
About like how we used one of the things that people take for granted just to keep us alive, basically, the internet.
Oh, shoot. I was using it all the, you know, everything was closed down around me. You know, my sister's program was shut down. The library was shut down. Everything was shut down. The only thing that kept my head together was being with Donna McCoy, one of the greatest women you'll ever meet, and one of the most devoted Funketeers you'll ever meet. So, you know, she's been a diehard Funketeer since 1967. Okay, so for her to be in my, and you know, for us to share our lives and to share it with my sister, that kept my head together. Funk, of course, kept my head together. I don't think there was a day during the hardcore moments of the pandemic when I wasn't listening to P-Funk. I had to. If I didn't, I don't know where I'd be. Yeah. You want to talk about PTSD? Forget it. If I didn't have Funkadelic in my life, I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah. I know that when we started reconnecting and really blowing up the Club Funketeers was during COVID.
Yep.
Because I connected with Cheryl. You know, I connected with Patty and Bootsy. I started connecting with Sonya, Keith Jackson and, George, Dr. G, George Darden, and all these people, because the Funketeers ball had gotten canceled, obviously. Yeah. And so everybody was like, wow, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? This and that. And people was trying to do virtual things. And some of it was good. Some of it was not so good. But everybody was basically very kind, because when I saw a lot of things that didn't really work well, and people didn't jump on them or nothing. They just said, hey, we realize, hey, everybody trying to reboot. So let's just try to all be positive. That's where it comes down to, this unconditional love. You know, I saw more of that during COVID. Now we need to get that back.
It's a shame that, no, it's not a shame, because I guess it's just it's part of humanity and part of the human condition. When people become more compassionate, more thoughtful, more aware of their surroundings in the middle of a disaster, in the middle of a catastrophic event. And I can't take that for granted. But you're right. I do believe that we should try and bring back that compassion and that understanding, not take it for granted, because COVID can happen again, or some kind of equivalent to COVID can happen again. And we shouldn't use that type of event as an excuse to be compassionate. Let's just be compassionate 24/7. Let's be understanding 24/7. Let's look out for the people next to us 24/7. You know what I'm saying?
I think going forward, and we're going to address the elephant in the room in a minute. We're hanging out today with, my funk brother, Tim Kinley, and he is a righteous, down-to-earth funk brother, obviously a caregiver to his beautiful sister, and also this man cares about humanity. I know, because I talk to him. He cares about humanity. He is like my brother.
And Zach Robinson is one diehard, compassionate, and very patient Funketeer. because he didn't yell at me. I hope before this happened, and he was very understanding.
Yeah, I tell you, I just yell at Mark. I didn't yell at you. I'm never gonna yell at my guests, but Mark be catching my shit all the time. God bless him. This brother should have killed me 3 years ago because I yell at Mark all the time. Off air, I am a raving lunatic. And Mark knows he's my brother. But bro, I didn't yell at you. I just simply did. I gave him your number. I said, get him on the air.
Exactly. Shoot, Mark should have killed you before COVID from what you're saying.
Hey, Mark you think I'm paid. Mark has the patience of Job. He's a reincarnated Job. I'm telling you. Mark is one of the best, like you, grooviest human beings I ever met, man. And everybody that knows Mark knows.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad I'm able to do more of this. I would love to try, get my philosophy out there. But not just my philosophy, but and by the way, obviously I have to give a shout out to the APT page because right now I believe we're 18,000 members strong, and we do nothing else other than promote the P-Funk. That's it. Nothing outside of it.
Yeah. And that needs to be done because if we do not keep this funk alive by any means necessary, like George and Bootsy and Bernie say. I watched a doc on Bernie the other night. He was in another country. It was about an hour and 20-minute doc, a great doc, kind of like at the end of Bernie's journey here. And he just got into some really deep things about music and, things. And I watched another one on James Brown when Bootsy was young and they were overseas playing. And these things are out there now. So for everybody that wants to keep funk alive, man, y'all can keep them alive. We're hanging out today with Tim Kinley. This brother is just one of the greatest brothers. And this is just the first of many segments that we're going to have with him. But right now, I want to hear, I got this covered, Mark, so you don't got to worry about it. I got it. I want to hear my guy, Keith Jackson, and we're going to see what he has.
This is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
Hey, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here with Holistic Restoration.
Okay.
Hey, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here with Holistic Restoration, inviting you to check out Zach Robinson with Funk in the Front Seat. He drops new episodes every Saturday at noon on the East Coast time, and replays are posted for whenever you miss a live stream. You can find him on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube, and get ready for the funk because he brings it every week along with hot topics, amazing guests, and great conversations. Again, that's Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Go check them out.
Love her, man. She does a lot of good things.
Hey, this is Jen Vanderputten.
But it's been doing that lately. And,
hey, this is Jen Vanderputten, writer of Code and Prose. You are watching Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Roberson. Tune in every Saturday at noon for excellent and important conversation.
I got one more. Mr. Joe Keys, my guy. Love you, Joe.
This is Joe Keys of Joe Keys and the Late Bloomer Band. This is Joe Keys of Joe Keys and the Late Bloomer Band. Just did a show with my man Zach. Number 9. That's right. Number 9's got it going on. Check out Funk from the Front Seat. Zach Robinson. Serious good vibrations, y'all. What we need. Peace.
He must have came in with you when you was glitching. and he snuck in with you and is trying. Sir Knows. He's trying to.
Okay. Okay.
He's trying, man. So, but don't worry, we got the power to one. Absolutely. Before we watch this video, we're going to check this out. But I want you to tell our audience and explain to them, what does Funk Not Fight mean to you?
Hopefully, it'll mean something that will help to address the tide of violence that we are seeing all across the country. Here in South Carolina, in Columbia, a young man, I believe he was like 13 or 14, was shot and killed by a gas station owner. And it was later found out, it was suspected that he had stolen something, but then they examined the video footage and found out that he had not stolen a thing. Even the sheriff here in Columbia had to get on television and stress that no, this kid did not commit any kind of crime whatsoever. So now a 14-year-old is dead. A shop owner is, a gas station owner is in jail right now. Will hopefully be serving life or close to it. But that's the type of senseless violence that we're seeing not only here in Columbia, South Carolina, but all over the country. It may be a byproduct of what we have with COVID, but it's still a situation that needs to be effectively addressed, not just, not with any kind of meaningless platitudes or anything like that. It needs to be effectively addressed. And I'm not going to sit here and come off like an expert onto how we're going to solve this problem, but it is a problem that has to be solved. And that's what I think Funk Not Fight comes into play in terms of being an assistance to address this.
Yeah, you guys are amazing out there in the chat line. Stay blowing it up. Keep it up, man. We love you guys because the more conversation we have, the more subjects we can get into, and you guys touch base as well. And we appreciate you. I'm hanging out today with Tim Kinley, Club Funk, the ambassador from South Carolina. One state away, and me and this brother are going to connect. And Patty wants you and I to put together this showdown here that we're going to work on as well. So we got to talk off air about a few things. I want to talk to you off air about a few things, possibly doing a segment weekly on my other channel on 9 on the Grind TV, talking about what you do, this and that. We'll talk about it. But I just want to thank you for taking the time out, man, and for jumping on with us, man. I want to before I put this comment up, I just want to say, the devil's advocate, please accept the humble apology on behalf of Warner, but potentially understand it is a tough, litigious system that is still this day playing catch up to ensure all talents, artists, musicians receive adequate, fair compensation for all their contributions. It is a long line, dated back to the 70s. And, you are absolutely right, Love Jones, because we have to remember a lot of times what we want is not always what we get. And I know that from being in the music industry. Sometimes we have to take, the bread and then go somewhere else for the peanut butter and then go somewhere else for the jelly. But before you know it, if you stay persistent, you will have a sandwich. And thank you for those comments. Keep them coming in because they're very, very important.
May I respond to that?
Yeah, sure.
I understand. I guess I'm pretty sympathetic to where that person was coming from, but this was for most of us a once in a lifetime event. People we all know people that perished because of COVID. Bringing people like D-Nice and Questlove and everybody else that did the same thing, I don't think infringed on anybody's rights. In fact, I would be totally sure that every artist that was played during those mixes loved those mixes and loved what we were doing, because we were making an extremely unfortunate situation a little bit more bearable. That's why I think just once the companies can, I don't want to say look the other way, but just read the room, read the world. We were all suffering from this. And what we were doing was not even a drop in the bucket in terms of trying to make people's lives a little more bearable. That's all I have to say about that.
And let me just add this, and I love this conversation. This is great stimulation because this is what happened to me. Now check this out. I was playing my own music. Mark can attest to this. Bruh, I came on with Revolution, song that I wrote, my music on my CD, this and that, right? And Facebook sent me a fine. And then I texted them back. I was like, they was like, because, we get dinged. Like when I play Bootsy stuff, whatever, I get a ding. Hey, it's going to be cut out in this country, that country, this and that, right?
Yes.
I ain't mad at that. I get it. Hey, I'm all for protecting artists. So I wrote Facebook back a nice email. And I said, sir, madam, thank you for the attention to covering and making sure artists and royalties, I worded it very properly, have attention to it and they know. And then they said, yes, your song Revolution, this and that. I said, but I'm the guy, right? I said, it's my music. I said, I was just simply playing my own music in my apartment. So I think they're trying to work out the bugs. A lot of this stuff has to do with algorithms. It's
right.
involved, So I love this conversation because basically what George and Bootsy and them are saying is take the radio back.
Exactly.
We're going to take it back.
You said that you grew up in New York, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you know how hard it was to be a Funketeer in New York City. Because if you went to the Southeast, on the West Coast, wherever else, funk was getting massive airplay. Funk was ruling the world. But because we lived in New York and because we had to deal with disco, and I love disco too. There's a lot of disco songs I love. But we had to deal with disco and
pop.
Okay. And because of that, funk took a back seat to disco, and a lot of times we didn't get a lot of those heavy funk jams that they got everywhere else. So I know how hard it is to grow up in New York City and to be a Funketeer. It was very difficult.
Yeah, I think that's why when I was coming up in this and Bernie and them started playing Wetlands and I'm showing some of these comments. You guys, man, are definitely doing your thing out there. And I appreciate it. Just keep all the comments coming in because conversation is about unconditional love. Wetlands, CBGBs, the Lions Den, the Red Lions. We played George Clinton's birthday party at the Lions Den, for instance.
Yep.
Right now, when they would come through, they was doing Central Park. They was doing the Brooklyn Bowl. They was doing all the places, the funk. But the funk bands, the way I got in it when I joined the BRC, the coalition, and Vernon Reed and Craig Ajamu and all those people, Kevin Harrington and Pearl, they was all involved in. So we kind of developed a niche, keeping it alive.
Rest in peace, Greg Tate.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. He loved my son. Yes, I actually worked with him. So yes. So it was a perfect storm to kind of kill it off in New York City at that time. Gentrification. People were pushing out the hippie kind of community like us and bringing in what you just said, the pop, the disco. And I worked in all them bands. It's great. And then when I would go like one state away in Jersey or 2 states away in Delaware or 3 states away in DC, I was like, soon as I get across the bridge, make my funk the people. Okay, I was like, I need to be living here.
Thank you. Exactly. I went to South Carolina to visit relatives in 1980. The minute we got outside of the New York City limits, Aqua Boogie's on the radio. We go farther into Columbia, South Carolina, they're pushing Mug Push and Freak to Freak back to back. 2 records that didn't get any airplay in New York City. So you do you do the geographical thing. You do the Carmen San Diego thing. If Carmen San Diego had to try and find the funk, you go out of New York City. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. And see, those artists will come in here and there. Like I would see Funkin' come through to New York once in a while, or Enema Squad on Long Island when we were playing that. And I was like, man, these guys are coming to give us something, and we're trying to do it here. Let's all just work together. I wanted to show the brother who just made that comment. Keith, you're going to dig this. This is an original from Rhythm Republic, right? And you can see on the bottom, I'm trying to show you where it says Wetlands. Right? This is how we used to. This was our Instagram. You can see in the corner right there, it says Wetlands. This was our social media. So all you young people watching, this is how we used to do it. We used to have hundreds of these cards printed up. Now, this particular one, Sonya, you would probably love this. I was on this show. This was a Prince tribute. And I know Sonya loves her some Prince. It was Rhythm Republic. They were the headlines, you know. I'm sorry, the Purple Funk All-Stars, then Rhythm Republic, then Nappy Head. So this is how we used to do it. And we used to have to literally, and you know, hand out thousands of these just to get a couple of hundred people.
I DJ'd a couple of gigs at Wetlands with the Funkorama series.
Still got
I was
it.
there.
Yeah. That's right. Still got it. So for you guys out there watching, this is how important this stuff was to me, because this was 1998-99.
Jeez.
This one, 1998-99. George Clinton's birthday bash at the Lions Den. I have these things because of brothers like Tim, because I knew one day I would run into him somewhere and I'd be able to like, yo, brother, I was there. It's my credentials, my birth certificate of funk.
That's it.
And
right there.
I feel honored and proud, man. Check this out. We're going to show this video real fast, man. You guys are great on the chat line. Funk is strong, man. Brian, you're right about that, because, we got so many true funk soldiers and funketeers on right now that, you guys please continue this chat. And I want you guys to sit back and watch this video. It's one that Bootsy Collins did, Funk Not Fight. And we're going to come back on the other side and ask our good brother, Tim, his thoughts on this. So y'all sit back and relax.
Hey, go, party over here.
I'm not a fighter, but I'm a lover. This kid named Money, he was always broke. He stepped down with my woman, and that ain't no joke. She meant the world to me, and that was no mystery. But when it got down to it, I had to funk him to his
There you go.
Funk, not fight. Y'all feeling that? Y'all get it now? You true funk soldiers on this line, take this unconditional love that Tim is putting out, that I'm putting out, that Mark Lee's putting out, that all you guys are putting out. I'm telling you, we can do this.
Absolutely.
We can do this.
Absolutely.
Funk, not fight. Come on, y'all. We got some great comments. We're going to get to some of them in a minute. Then I'm going to ask you your thoughts on the video. First of all, I wanted to go back to my man. He said, Funkorama, the wetlands, and nothing but the funk. So Keith, man, I love you for that because, bro, people don't even remember that. And thank God, man, you can bring that up because that warms my cockles of my heart. Smoking joints in the parking lot, they're going in and just getting completely funked up.
That's right.
It was the bomb. And Sonia, thank you because, yes, I knew you would like that because it had the Prince sign. So thank you, Cedar, for that. My guy, Al Rashad, I got to shout him out because Al, of course, this brother, man, I played with him back in the day, him and Jeff Robeson. And I just want to shout out real quick and we'll get back to this, but I got to shout this brother out because I just sent him some tracks down there. He made sure some sax work got done. He played bass guitar on my new track that's coming out, Flag on the Funk. This brother, Al Rashad, and his son, John, is one of the most insane type of nastiest mugs out there. And trust me, follow his music, follow his brother, follow his son, John, and their music is just insane. So that's all I can say. And he plays on my shit. So trust me. He hooked me up with the dope sax player. And yes, Marcus was in the house with the funk. Yes.
Absolutely.
And Sonya, thank you for this comment. Love the video. Amazing artist, funking it up with Boosie. Boosie's the man. You know, he does what he does, man. And you know,
they're all our big brothers, aren't they?
Yeah, man. Hold on. Let me get to Brian's comment real quick. DJs played on the radio. What people wanted to hear got paid instead of playing real hits. Yeah, you're right about that. And that's why we got the internet now, bro, because we're going to change all that shit. Dennis Chambers, Victor Wooten, Marcus Miller, Cindy Blackman, Rhonda Smith, Phantasma. Wow. Yo, Buckyhead. How can you go? You know what I'm saying? Not to mention Bootsy. He's coming off. You know, Bootsy's so cool. He'd be like, listen, you guys can start the game. I'm going to come off the bench and still drop 30 on you.
Okay. That's it. That is it.
Yo, can you imagine? Yeah, that was dope. Thank you, man. Thank you, Dr. Brooks. Love the video. Can you imagine the auras and energies in that space when all them cats was putting that together, even though they could have been in different spots, but just theorizing in a perfect world, Victor Wooten, Marcus Miller, Boosie Collins, Cindy Black, just those beautiful men and women. Just my God.
Which is probably the reason why that song sounds like a continuation of, I don't know if you remember Bass Rigged System from the what was it, Worldwide Funk LP?
Yes.
Yes, that record, the record Funk Not Fight, sounds like a continuation of that. That's why I dig this record, this current record so much, because it takes up where that last record left off. I mean, Who else could get those people in a room other than Boosie?
That's what I'm saying. And the last one, he had Larry Graham. He had before that, then he had George Benson.
Yeah.
He had one with George Duke. This cat, he dug deep.
Yeah, exactly. He does. I don't know. Probably maybe only Quincy Jones could probably cut off with something like that, but only Boosie would have the vision to have
yes.
in the same room.
Yes, he's a visionary. Yes, exactly. He's miles. Well, Function One, of course, and we're all disciples of the mothership, but just his thing is just so enormously intense. I try to listen to some of the shit that he writes, and I'm like, damn, I never would have thought of that. You know what I'm saying? It's right. Like I'm struggling to write a funk song, and this guy's got thousands.
Okay, exactly. Think about that. Think about what this dude has brought down because you have some people that make ridiculous comments like, Bootsy only sounds as good as he does because of the effects he used. That's ridiculous. That's idiotic.
Yeah,
this man has given up funk for James Brown, for George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, for his own rubber band, and anyone else who had the good sense to put this man on a record.
We don't even entertain those thoughts.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
I know I don't.
Nah, it's nonsense, man. I tell people, listen, go back and listen to Disco Lady. Oh, man, that was grooving. That's this. So who do you think that was? Ah! Okay. Go back and listen to some of James's best shit. Oh, man, this shit is dope. Yeah, they said blah, 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 blah. Who do you think that was?
Exactly. And how much did he get paid for that session? As opposed to how much that record grossed.
Yo, man, let me tell you, those cats are geniuses, man. I want your thoughts on this new video, Funk Not Fight.
My vote? My
thoughts on the video, yes.
Oh, absolutely. It's on the one. As everything that Bootsy does is on the one. You know, he brought everybody together for a common cause and didn't leave the funk out of it. That's all I need in my life.
Dr. Brooker said the power of the one, Bubba. Now, I don't know who Tim, we need more of that collective funk spirit. I believe Tim shot the video. Did you shoot that video?
No. No, I think that was, what's his name? Uwe.
Uwe. Oh, right. See, I've been trying to get him on the show since like last year, but I know he's going to come on eventually. I'm going to let this comment ride. Please rest assured you are coming into my radar. Has been no coincidence. Know that you and this movement is of utmost importance to my heart, for you are at the heart of soul and funk. It is my intention to strongly advocate and support you all. Thank you. The way. God bless. You rock now. And now I'm sorry, it's very, very small for you. Oh, okay. Let's see how heads can unite, communicate to mitigate the best solutions for the great effort. Forgive me for my reading, but when it comes on my screen and on the bottom, I'm trying to really read it really small. So thank you for that, Love Jones, because, we need more positive attitudes like that.
Can you ask her? I don't know. I know people want to go by their internet titles, but since she knows me, I'd like to know who she is, because I know I've come across a lot of hundreds of Funketeers over the years, and I would love to know who she was. Yeah, she's probably somebody I encountered in New York.
Maybe she'll reveal. I know who she is. I swear I do. Because I know I connected with her at some point, some kind of way. Because I just be sending random shit out to Funketeers. If you got the P-Funk sign up, and I see anything with P-Funk or George Clinton or Bootsy on your page, I'm probably going to hit you up. Say, hey, what up, friend?
Thank you. Exactly.
Yep. I want to get back to something that is very cool that Brian brought up. And let's try to look at this from two different sides. Like, now that we're in this era, how do we optimize Funketeers earning money and getting paid? And I would like your thoughts out there in the chat line. How do we do that?
That's the one thing that's very hard. I think Black music, I think, has moved too far away from the funk. And therefore, it's actually hard for us to even make a living off of this music, much less try and move it forward and move it into other chapters. I think you can. I just don't think that. I think it has to be more independently approached, like what you're doing, what other people are doing in terms of promoting the funk or promoting their own funk. It has to be more independent, because funk has gone back underground now, and I think the only way for it to survive is through independent, more independent energy, I think.
Yeah. It's hard. It's funny you say that, because starving artists, I can tell you what that's about right now, right? And this is not saying the struggle ain't real for everybody, but just trying to do the music thing, it takes so much revenue just to try to earn back a little bit. Merchandise, and then you got to worry about paying the band, and then you got to worry sometimes you may have to bring sound and rent equipment, and just it's so hard right now being a band leader. It's not like it used to be where cats were like, hey, I'm down with you, let's just go. It's like now people want to get paid, and I can't blame them. They're working hard, they're doing this music, they want to get paid. This is why I really work in the studio with just like myself and two other people. I'd love to have everybody come in, but I can't afford to pay them.
Exactly.
And it's sad. It's not like a band used to go in and record everything, and it's now technology.
Exactly. I don't expect anybody to make the kind of sacrifices that I may make personally. For example, the George Clinton and Bootsy Collins events here in South Carolina, I didn't get paid for that at all. And I did not want to get paid for that because for me, that was my love letter to this. It was, as far as me and Donna are concerned, that was our love letter to this band. And to get paid for something like that wouldn't feel right at all.
Yes, same.
They paid me more than enough, 500 times over.
That's why I tell people, they look at me like, how can you be tired from a show and be like, okay, ready to go. I'm ready to go do another show. That's what I say as soon as I'm done with a show. I tell them because, listen, I would do this for free. The love of funk music and performing and playing and being at funk concerts and seeing other funk acts, I'm telling you, there's not a funketeer out there that performs that wouldn't, or that does artistical work like yourself, that wouldn't do it for free, because that's just who we are. I talked to Keith Jackson, and he calls it a labor of love. Shout out to my guy, Keith. I love you, bro.
Of course. That's exactly what it is.
Yep.
It made us who we, hell, I wouldn't be the African-American I am now without the funk. That was a music that in my view, gave us aspects of our character that I don't think we even knew we had. You know what I'm saying? I think it gave us a purpose. It gave us our outlook. My outlook on life is totally defined by the funk. And I always say it like this: funk is the center of my consciousness, and P-Funk represents the center of that.
When I listen to those words you just said, my soundtrack is defined by all the music we grew up with, and then to individualize it and hone it in, it's funk.
Exactly.
I was coming to my own 14, 15, 16. Funk was coming into its own, coming out of the James Brown, Sly, and Hendrix era. Earth, Wind, and Fire was coming into their own. I heard a song called Mighty Mighty. I was like, damn, they're allowed to play music like that? They can make a 15-minute song, one song? I was like, are they? I literally went to my older brothers and sisters that was mentoring me, and I said, are they allowed to do this?
You know what I'm saying? Thank you for saying. See, that's the thing. You were so lucky because, regardless of what kind of relationship I have with my brothers and sisters, they didn't nurture me in this. Funk was something I embraced on my own terms, and that was a great thing. That way, no one could distract me from how I felt about the music or the emotional connection I was making to the music. So that's a good thing.
Yo, brother, I'm loving this interview. Everybody's so sweet and kind on the chat line. We all just doing our thing. Mr. Mark Lee, I wanted to get you in here, man, and get on some of this conversation because, we have such an amazing audience out there that's watching. And those of you, please continue to support us. Funk from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV, every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And Prince was smart and told us, the audience, what was up? And you're absolutely right, because even though we're jumping back and forth, these two conversations have a lot to do with each other, as it brings us to Funk Not Fight, because we're still holding up the bloodstained banner, boom, the Funketeer, boom, the R&B flag, boom. All of us that are Funketeers are holding it up. So,
hey, Zach, real quick.
Mark, jump in here, man.
Yeah, Zach, I was going to jump in because I was actually doing a little bit of reading on this powerful brother, Mr. Tim Kinley, and a little bit of the things that he talks about, including his filmmaking and all in that space. And actually read a interesting quote that you had. I think it was on Facebook or some other dialogues back and forth, but you were actually talking about an artist that I had the pleasure of seeing perform many years ago as part of the Blues Festival, and a lot of times people don't recognize his legacy and his connection to funk music and everything. But I'd love to hear some of your thoughts around none other than Bo Diddley, because that is who I was reading that you were talking about on one of your posts, and his kind of connection to rock and some of the things that we've even brought up before, which is that sometimes folks get a little bit too much credit that they don't necessarily need, and all in that space. Not knocking some of those folks, but definitely the Bo Diddleys and the others aren't always admired as much as they probably should be. But I just wondering your thoughts about that.
If anyone has injected the tribalistic feel of music into rock and roll, That's Bo Diddley. He really brought it down to some tribal roots. Not to mention the fact that I believe he had one of the first female drummers in his band. That's pretty deep for somebody who was starting out the way that he was. I have the utmost respect. I know somebody who used to play with Bo Diddley. I believe his name is Scott Smith. And we every now and then we get into like conversations about Bo Diddley and people of his generation. I have the utmost respect for him. I don't think you can have a comprehensive record collection and not have Bo Diddley in it. If you don't have any doubt about Bo Diddley, there's a serious hole in your collection and you need to fill it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you my Bo Diddley story, Mark.
Yeah.
I grew up on Bayshore, Long Island. Bo Diddley's son, Danny McDaniels, went to my high school.
Wow.
And Danny and I was tight. We used to hang out. And we just knew him as Danny's father.
Right.
Even though we knew he was Bo Diddley, right? And we knew the type of music he did. And because we were in our teens, it really wasn't our thing. But the most important thing is we learned, we listened, we honored, and we respected, and we acknowledged what came before us, because that's the way our generation was taught. See, now it's a little different. Some kids have it, some kids don't. But back then, it was a given that you looked up to the elders. It wasn't like something you had to ponder and think about. In church, you looked up to the elders, the musicians. In the street, you looked up to the elders, because that's the way we were raised and taught. So when you mentioned the Bo Diddleys, the Chuck Berrys, the Little Richards of the world, like Tim was saying, it's in me. It's already in me. Little Richard wore this first before Prince. Little Richard did this first. So it is in me. It's going to always be there. So in my humble opinion, Funketeers, we carry all of that tribal stuff like Tim was saying.
No doubt. Hey, Tim, one of the other things I was curious to know about, because I think when you first came on, you mentioned being in a lane that I definitely respect as well, which is the whole lane of filmmaking and documentarian and all in that space. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that work that you're doing in that space and the importance of using these tools, whether it's music or whether it's filmmaking, to tell our stories and to get our messages out there and to inform the public, including those that are in the field and those that aren't in the field.
I did video for Parliament Funkadelic from 1994 to around 2002. So I think we're talking about some 70 hours of footage.
Wow.
Unfortunately, a lot of that footage was lost in my move to South Carolina. Some of it is on YouTube. You can still see some of the stuff that I've done on YouTube. That's a great thing. I always thought that it was fantastic. You know what really inspired me to do this? In Japan, for example, John Coltrane's Village Vanguard recordings are available in Japan complete. No edit, nothing edited, is completely there, only in Japan. When I heard about that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing with P-Funk. I'm going to try and document this band in a way that's almost unprecedented. I want to make sure that, because I still have some masters of some of these gigs myself. I still have them for myself. I still have them in the collection. And I want people to understand. I want people to understand what kind of progressive entity P-Funk represents. I'm going to give me a little moment for a minute. I want to just kind of get more broad-minded about this. If we were to assess all of the movers and shakers in popular Black music from the start of what we can call the rock and roll era, from 1955 on down, every one of those people, every one of those individuals met a particular criteria some point in their careers. And that is they've all scored top 10 songs or top 10 albums on either the Billboard Hot 100 or the Billboard Top 200 singles charts. Right. Everyone except for Parliament Funkadelic. no top 10 singles, no top 10 albums, no Grammy nominations, no American Music Award nominations, not even an NAACP Image Award nomination, no cover stories on Rolling Stone, no cover stories in People magazine or any of the pop culture mags. They didn't penetrate the white pop consciousness in the way that every other mover and shaker has done. And yet, fast forward to 2023, Parliament Funkadelic is one of the most influential bands of the 20th century. That's just a simple fact.
In the history of music.
Thank you. And that's why I went forward so much into trying to document almost every move they make. You can go to a bookstore and get books on damn near the Beatles' whole history on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. We need to be the exact same way with Black music and especially funk. We need to be that way with every underground musical movement that Black people create.
Amen. I had Danny on a couple of weeks ago, and he did that book that's coming out. He's going to come back, and it's deep.
I am looking forward to that book a lot.
Yo, man, I'm telling you, I got a little few behind the clip excerpts of it. Yo, let me tell you, him, people like that are doing this, we trying to just push this thing. That's why I know we're going to succeed, because God gave you the will and the strength to actually do it. And everybody on this thread is down with this 100%. And Absolutely. I know they are. I know
Absolutely.
they are. I know they are.
I'm doing that book because it would be, because I know a lot of us listen to these P-Funk races like, who is that on bass? And we like to guess. We do guesstimates. That doesn't work. I've been corrected so many times in terms of who I thought played on a particular record. So I'm glad he's coming out with this.
Yes, me too. Because I know there was times when Boosie would play something, and then you hear a little bit of, say, maybe George said, okay, Boogie's, just do this part there. You can hear the two bass lines melted together. So we always played a game. We never knew if he was right or wrong, but we said, hey, who's this? Who's that?
Exactly. Mark, if you want to, I know Mark wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you a question because Zach knows this about me and everything, but I am a lover and becoming more of a lover every day of funk music. And definitely Zach has brought me into this fold and everything, but I have historically been a fan of jazz and blues for a number of years because of my own family history and radio history and all of that. But I actually think that there is a intersection, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts about this, that isn't talked about enough between funk and blues, which is that whole notion of Southern soul. Because when I look at the Line Dancers and I look at a number of others, that is an intersection that I don't think is analyzed enough. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about that, Tim.
My personal opinion about that is I think that we have to look at the evolution of Black music in a different way. I look at what we've done, what we've accomplished since the birth of rock and roll before, as the evolution of blues theory. Mm-hmm. I think we're talking about in the 50s. In the 40s, you get the blues. In the 50s, you have rhythm and blues. In the 60s, you have soul. In the 70s, you have funk. In the 80s, you have rap. In the 90s, you have New Jack Swing. Yeah, I think we're looking at just an evolution of blues theory. Blues is running through. It might be thin in some interpretations, but it's all running through all of that music. You're going to hear blues chords and funk, in soul, in everything, in rock, what is speed metal? But blues chords speed it up, And I think we always have to remember or be cognizant of the blues factor, or be cognizant of blues theory. I know I always try to be cognizant of that. I always find myself gravitating more to those who represent or are dedicated to that evolution.
Mark, can I jump in on that for real quick?
Please.
I was like I told you, I watched that doc on Bernie, and everybody should watch it, man. And he basically said something, Tim, that I'm sure you would agree with, kind of like what you just said. He said the guy kept asking him, and you could tell Bernie was getting irritated because the guy kept asking him, well, what about, you did a complete, concerto solo when you was 4 years old, and you wrote this and wrote that. By the time you was 8, you was playing with symphonies, traveling, doing this and that, right? And doing classical music. And he said, what, how does that work? And then they said, what about, the different instruments and things that you use? And Bernie basically broke it down like this. and I listened to this very carefully. The guy said, because they played like Joyful Noise, then they played Flashlight, then they played some songs, and they was asking Bernie to comment on it. And he said, the guy said, well, wow, when you did this part, what was you thinking about it? When you did that? And Bernie simply said, all the music that I've ever heard and learned and was taught and play is just all music. It's all relative. He said, I put a classical line in Joyful Noise in the back, but then use the string lines from that. I play Bach and Beethoven in certain things on the piano, but then he said, I put myself in it, and then I heard blues. I heard this. So I think it's like you said, what you was asking about, it's all relative. Mm-hmm. Going back to what Tim said. That was just, my comment on that.
Just look at Chocolate City. Chocolate City.
Oh God, yes.
Chocolate City is what, if I were using the right word, confluence of jazz, classical, and funk,
right, that street sound.
Exactly.
It had that urban jazz street sound. Like Chocolate City was like you was right there in the living room and they was playing it.
Exactly. Thank you.
Exactly. So many people are merging so many different sounds, because I know that I just heard about a group recently that blends funk music, and of all things, they blend bluegrass. And there's a couple of them. One that does the hip hop bluegrass called Gangsta Grass, but the group that I had not heard of is actually called the Ebony Hillbillies, and it is literally getting some of that ancestral connection that even a lot of the quote unquote mainstream musicians don't understand, because I mean the banjo is really an African instrument, and a lot of people forget that. They forget that it literally was invented in Africa and all in that space, and it is the core of bluegrass and country music, but a lot of people will not acknowledge that. And I'd just love to hear your thoughts around that, Tim, because that's something that I think is not acknowledged enough, is the historical legacy of where the music even comes from.
Exactly.
And you just acknowledge it, so you good.
It still goes on today as far as I'm concerned. In fact, I'm gonna slide off the track a little bit, because you were talking about the banjo. Mm-hmm. I don't know, Zach may know that the track "One Nation Under a Groove" originally featured a banjo.
Yes.
So,
and who says a funk band can't play rock?
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Yep.
I think we need more people. Like, for example, I don't know if I ever thought highly as a musician. I always respected him as a musician, but now I'm having a growing level of respect for Questlove. I think we really need somebody like Questlove in the mix to unearth events regarding Black music and he'll be able to bring it more to the surface. What he did with the movie Summer of Soul was amazing. Excellent. Now, take that same expertise and get those funk festivals on film and into private theaters. Because those funk festivals are something a lot of people aren't even aware of. When you tell people that 70,000 Black folks, and let's face it, for the vast majority, it was Black folks. If you tell them that 70,000 Black folks filled the stadium to see Parliament Funkadelic, Boots and Rubber Band, the Brothers Johnson, Rufus and Shaka Khan, if you can get those little nuggets of history and bring them up to the surface, that would go a significant way into addressing what people don't understand about the history of African American music. I think he did a perfect job on Summer of Soul. Perfect.
I think Brian said it best where he said P-Funk has taken funk and music to a level that no band will ever, and I mean ever, will overdo. The bar is set so high.
Exactly.
Definitely. Hey, Tim, and I hope Zach doesn't mind me asking this question and everything, but one thing I know that has been frustrating to a number of musicians, Zach included, and even those of us behind the scene and everything, is those festivals, and you mentioned the funk festivals that have that title, but there's very little funk to the festival itself. So I just wanted your take on that, Tim, because there are a number of festivals that have the name of a funk festival, but they are made of a lot of pop and other artists.
Have you noticed that too? You noticed that too, huh?
It's out of control.
It's insulting. It's insulting to anyone who's ever grown up on the funk. when you see these so-called funk festivals, and it's nothing more than radio-friendly R&B groups. Mm-hmm. Funk was never, well, at least, or I can say P-Funk and the Renegade bands were never radio-friendly. So I'm not sure where they're coming from with this whole funk festival thing when not one of these bands is remotely.
The word is marketable, and that's the problem that we're dealing with down here with my management, myself, and this and that. Marketing the right, correct word. Because when you market funk on its own, people don't really gravitate and dig it because they don't really know what it is. And we're seeing that. But then when you just market the brand and the name, like we know, and then the young people get it because it's a hippie vibe. But when they start saying funk is R&B, then what is R&B? Because we know funk ain't R&B. So you got R&B acts on the funk show, but then what are you calling them?
Or when you call funk an offshoot of soul. Is soul an offshoot of R&B? Funk was the standard for Black music in the 1970s. It was its own entity. It had roots in what came before, but it was definitely its own entity. And I think the more we talk about it, the more we bring out documentaries on this, the more people will understand that. And maybe it will seep down to a lot of these musicians now whose music kind of seems to be divorced from the funk, and in that case, divorced from what is real. And by the way, I'm going to ask, I'd like to ask the both of you, just one after the other. And I don't know how long you're supposed to be on the air. But
we're good, man. We good. This is my station. I go as long as I want.
Perfect. What is your feeling about people like Bruno Mars?
What was the question?
What is your opinion? I want to ask this question of Mark first, and then you come up. What is your opinion of Bruno Mars?
Bruno Mars kind of reminded me, and that's one of those articles I read about you, of Elvis and those. So I'm not knocking that he has some performance abilities and some skill abilities, but I think that he is the watered down version of what can be put out there and everything. So I think that it is definitely a watered down version of the true funk because it is more palatable to certain people within the community. So that is kind of my general view of it and everything. So I'm not saying that he doesn't have some good songs, and there are others that are fitting in that category as well. But if you had to ask me, and Bruno Mars is a younger version and everything, I have a lot less respect for Bruno Mars than I do for Sting, because Sting actually went and studied the background of what he was doing and honored those whose legs he stood on. I don't know that Bruno does that enough. That's just my personal opinion. Like, I see Sting and I see some others that actually do the honoring of the legs and the shoulders that they stand on. And I don't know
who honored the legs and shoulders they stood on. I didn't hear you.
Sting.
The white guy. Bass player.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
I'm just making a parallel because Bruno,
I don't know where that goes, but all right. That's why I was like, is he saying Sting? Like,
making the parallel.
Every breath you take, Sting. I thought it was some new artist. That's why I said. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But can I jump in there?
Go ahead.
Okay. My Bruno Mars. Check this out. A lot of people don't know this guy was a performer as a kid in Hawaii, doing his thing with his family. And he studied intensively Jackie Wilson, because when he came out in that short tux at the Super Bowl, he did it to honor those guys. So my opinion of Bruno Mars is that I taught my daughters about Parliament Funkadelic, right? And what that was. They know Mahalia Jackson. They know the Five Blind Boys. They know James Brown, Sly Henry. I taught them all history. And when they heard Uptown Funk, they automatically gravitated to it as young people because it was from their generation. So I think what I give him props for is that when he worked with his producers and writers, and of course Silk Sonic worked with Bootsy and everybody, he gets it. Anderson .Paak gets it. But it's about these numbers, and it's about the industry kind of not saying and kind of saying in a roundabout way, we'll let you do this. So I think sometimes we forget that if you look at the outtakes of Lady Gaga, she's sitting backstage, jamming the piano, just playing Stevie Wonder, playing all kinds of shit, playing classical, this, that. The woman's a genius, but her show and her music has to be about that big circle that's pushing the industry. So when I heard Uptown Funk, I like the song. We used to play it in pop bands, this and that. I listened to Strawberry, and I hear the Time and Prince influence of that. So I'm okay with it because let's face it, every generation is just going to keep it moving in their own way. So I think we have to support it. But at the same time, as long as I never met him, as long as he's worked with Bootsy Collins, I think he'll be all right.
He's getting the right guidance. Right. I get you. I appreciate the point of view of both of you coming with complete, somewhat not completely, but different points of view that I totally respect. I get. I'm glad you took the time to, Mark. I'm very glad you took the time to explain your point of view as you did, Zach. So thank you for doing that.
Hey, man, that's dope, man. This is why we have this show, because we now have expanded our minds and learned all from each other. I'm just trying to figure out what Sting got to do with it, because I like Sting. I was listening to Police the other day. I bet you won't guess what's my favorite Police song, Sting. You won't guess it in a million years.
Probably would, so go ahead.
Synchronicity, before he started doing his solo shit. Now, his solo shit was dope, but I was listening to that cat playing drums like that. That song is a powerful song. Go back, y'all, and listen to Synchronicity, the live order, the full version.
It's a classic song, and what I was getting at, and I'm not knocking what Sonya and Brian were saying, because I had heard that he had been working with Bootsy and others, but I just hadn't heard enough of the acknowledgement that I would like to hear that I've heard from some other ones. And like I said, Sting was just an example.
I think they did it through the music, though. If you listen to they did it through the videos and music. They definitely play to their generation. But if you watch carefully what they do and how they were doing it, they were paying homage to the Temptations, that they actually did it, but in a nicer, palatable way. Maybe we're hey, get off my lawn. But they kind of did do it. You just have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I think to what Mark is saying, I believe that Mark Ronson is probably the only person, not the only person, but one of the few people I know that gives the funk verbal public recognition.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Because he was like, yo, shout out to Uncle Bootsy when he was getting it. I agree. I seen that. I believe me. I know. So I agree with you, Mark, and I also agree with you, Ted. That's a very good. So what do we do about it?
About what exactly?
To make it better, so more cats do acknowledge it. Now that we know the problem, let's get the solution.
Go back to people like Questlove. I don't know how many people there are in the industry like Questlove who can dig up, who can dig up artifacts of funk music culture and bring it out in a way that he did with Summer of Soul. If he can do that, could you imagine? Think about this now, for him to maybe be able to, for example, unearth the 1977 Funk Festival from LA and just put it in. You don't need. We're not talking about like major theatrical release. We're talking about art theaters here and there. All across maybe the East Coast, the Southeast, whatever else. You cannot tell me a project like that, A, wouldn't make money, and B, wouldn't give the genre the shot in the arm it needs. Because if you can get those things in theaters first, or maybe streaming or whatever else, that's going to be a direct jolt back into the arm of funk music, I think. Because first of all, how much would it cost? This stuff is already shot. It's just a question of finding out who's sitting on this footage, getting them to release this footage, and then let it have its effect.
Yeah, and I think. Oh, go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
No, I just had another, and I know I'm redirecting it.
Yeah, but we gotta get out. We gotta get out.
We're ready to get out. But I got a quick question. I'm curious to hear Tim's thoughts about and everything. I know it's the whole notion of the funk music and everything, but there is a major strike that is going on and everything, and some people are wondering the impact of AI and other things on the creative world. So I just wanted your take on that, Tim, as one that is in the creative space. And I know that even Zach is training some kids, and I sometimes wonder if these kids are going to be replaced by some of the artificial things that are out there as well. But I'd love to hear your take on this, Tim, and if you've got any thoughts as to whether this is a danger we need to be concerned about.
First of all, I don't trust AI as far as I can spit. I don't trust it at all. I've seen it work. I've seen it used for too many. I haven't seen it used for anything as negative as it is for something that's. I haven't seen it used for anything positive as it is for those things that are negative. I've seen it. I've seen. I think they said that they can take your image, like scan your image and use it in other projects, and you don't get paid for it at all. That's ridiculous. That's unheard of for me. And I tell you this though, I'll tell you who is emerging as the winner, not the winner, but the hero of this movement. Fran Drescher. Is she surprising people or what? She got into the center of this as leader of the Screen Actors Guild and is speaking her mind in a loud and proud way. I don't know if I've ever had any real connection to this woman other than The Nanny, which I sometimes watch reruns on it. And it's respectably funny. But now this woman is coming into her own. She is the hero of this movement right now. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question. I hope it does.
No, that definitely answered the question.
I watched a little bit. Let me jump in, Mark, because we got to go. I watched a little bit of it. I don't know exactly because I got to get more details on this strike. I just wanted to get to some of these comments. Hold on. Let me get back up here. Okay, we're going to start with Okay, hold on. We got a lot of comments we have to get to. Okay, I'm going to start with this one. Hold on. Okay, Bruno. Bruno is funky, but he is watered down funk as opposed to the real funk. And I would say, yeah, but we can't, in my personal opinion, and thank you for that, Brian, I would say that I wouldn't say watered down because the sound, the industry, and what he's trying to do going in that direction. But I know this, I think that when we as true funk artists see anybody that ain't got like 18 pieces, we automatically say that. And I do too. I said, whatever. And I play Bruno Mars. I like his music, whatever. I ain't mad at it. So I understand your opinion about that because I think that's just the thing that we as true funk soldiers just look for all the time. And, it's cool that we have these opinions. And somebody else said, yep. and then my boy, Al in Florida, Bruno worked with Bootsy. Yes, he did. Right. And Sonia says, yeah, it's all good. I'd rather listen to Bruno than any other mainstream artist. He is influenced by the funk. Bootsy Prince, he's helping to keep a funk alive with the younger audience. That was my point, Sonia. I totally agree with that. And we need that because we can only do but so much as the gatekeepers. Bruno tries to give homage to the real funk because he loves funk, but he's not the real funk. Yeah, no doubt. We know what the P is. Bootsy can guide him, though. Yes, you're absolutely right about that. And then Al jumped in. Sting's band was Omar King Dow Jones. Right. Thank you, the Jazz Cats. That was the band. Now, that was the one. But back in the day, I just listened to the drumming and Synchronicity, and I know how Stuart Copeland plays the traditional grip. And if you ever watch him do it, he's slamming his hand sideways like that. And I'm a drummer. I couldn't do it like even once, let alone twice. That's why I love Synchronicity. Dr. Brookenstein says, yes, for sure. Synchronicity Part 2. Love that song. Yeah, it's dope. Sonia's like, okay, let's get back here. And we talking about Bruno again. Silk Sonic, Bruno, Pac, and Bootsy was a breath of fresh air on the radio. Yes, it was. And I absolutely loved it myself. And I got a chance to hear it a little bit before it came out. Man, not to hijack, but we need to give Pleasure their flowers. Pleasure, yo.
Of course.
My man, Al, we got you, bro. We ain't going to leave them out because you're not hijacking at all. Get on the thread, man, and just pop these questions out because this is what we do over here. Pleasure was dope, and I was listening to him just the other day. I have him on my playlist. Silk Sonic, Bruno, Pac, and Bootsy with the Breath of Fresh Air. Yep, we did that. And also, too, Questlove is that dude. Getting back to what you said, man, and it's dope.
You know,
I can always ride and glide jealously with pleasure. Hold on, we got some more comments. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to make one quick point. Sometimes I get into this thing with, on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame website in regards to, the people that were inducted from Parliament Funkadelic and what people they left out, which was very unfortunate because they left out the women, they left out Tall Ross, they left out a couple of people. I do believe that if you had a Questlove type of individual in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because I don't know if he's on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nomination board now, but if you had somebody like that in 1997, a lot more members of P-Funk would have gotten in. That's why I give Questlove a lot of props.
And we have to make sure that we do not forget in Dayton, Ohio, David Webb and his team, the Funk Chronicles, the Funk Hall of Fame. We need to figure out, because I'm pushing that like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Only because it's a Hall of Fame of people that I dig that were left out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How you going to leave out Slave? Chaka Khan just got in. How you going to leave out Pleasure? How you going to leave out Mother's Finest?
I can address that, but we don't have
time. No, we'll get into that. Yeah, no, we're going to do it. This is part 1, bro. You coming back for at least 3 or 4 or 5
I was going to ask about that. I would love to do a part 2.
Oh, no doubt. This is a given. That when we get into these, it's always like, come back a couple of weeks later. We just do this because now you're a reg on the show. So this is how we do. One more comment, and we're going to get out of here. The Roots need to bring out a new album.
Not only was I able to meet, directly connect with you, but directly connect to Mark, because Mark has got some great ideas in his head, and I'm glad we connected like this.
Oh, I always bring Mark in. He's a producer, been here from the get-go, and we chop it up like this.
And he's also patient. He's also very patient.
Yeah, and he works with you, and I yelled at him. So that's just the way it goes. So you know what? Thank you, Sonya. It is a great show. So you guys out in the audience, give yourselves a great hand. Brenda, I hope you feel better. I'm glad you're home from the hospital. I love you up in Ohio. I always give my guest, and today my guest was amazing. This gentleman came on, took his time out, spent 2 hours with us today. We had a really good, stimulating thread. Everybody out there was giving their great opinions, and we love them all. Every opinion is validated, and every opinion is important, and we appreciate them. Keep them coming in, because we're trying to build this show and grow it and grow it and grow it. And you guys can always watch this to your heart's content, because it's always there. And, we just appreciate you guys so much. So thank you for coming on. I'm going to give you the full screen, and we always let you just say whatever it is that comes to your mind, because we want you to I want to get this comment up for you first. Oh, no, not that one. Sorry.
While you're doing that, Zach, don't forget that at 3 p.m. tomorrow, speaking of David Webb, we are as part of the 9 on the Grind. We do have that show that will be airing at 3 p.m. on Sunday, because that is part of the 9 on the Grind network. So that has been running consistently now for almost a month and a half, and it will be on again tomorrow as
Has it been that long? Wow. Yo, that's dope. Month anniversary. Yep. Yo, thank you so much, Mark, for jumping on. I'm going to give Tim, we give Tim the full screen. I'm going to get off. You can take yourself off and, just go ahead
and. Thank you for letting me express myself on this in the context of this interview. It was fantastic. I'm very honored to be able to sit here and talk to everyone who's in listening distance about how important the funk is to all of us, and how obviously important Parliament Funkadelic is to our souls. And I know it's been a constant stream of nutrition for my soul for the past, 45 years. And hopefully it'll play that same role for 45 more. Thank you very much.
Yo, man, there's been nothing but the funk, always about the funk. All the true funk soldiers, Club Funketeers, and ambassadors out there, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take this unconditional love, go out, spread it around, and love somebody today. And remember, funk, not fight. Let's get out of here with some Bootsy Collins, yo.
Don't let it cry. Don't let the girl cry.
North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Florida, H-Town, Houston, Texas, New Orleans, Oklahoma. Tim Kelly was with us today. Love Bucketeers. Mark Lee was in the house. Philadelphia. New Jersey, you heard? New York City. Staten Island, Bayshore. Hometown. Ohio, what's up, Brenda? Glad you home, baby. Boots and Patty. We got you. From the front seat. That's right. Detroit. Minneapolis.
Comes this remote control unit.
I hear you up there in the purple land. North and South Dakota, Chicago, Illinois. Nevada, hi Joanne. California, what up, Big Dub? Hi Susan. Washington State. Delaware, are you aware? New Jersey, you heard the beat. Nothing but the funk, y'all. Funk not fight month here. I'm funk from the front seat. California. Hawaii. Samoan doing the Tokyo, I'm Young High, say yo! Funk not fight. Japan, Germany, Australia, England, Dubai, Africa. Puerto Rico.
I'm a rhinestone, rockstar, monster of
all around the world for the fun, from Antarctica to the South Pole, east to west. You know the funk is the best. Not fight, yo. That's how we roll with this funk. Stop the violence. Stop the killing. Talk to a young kid now and then. Shake him up, pull him aside. Say, hey, get him. Not fight. Patty Collins is coming on at the end of the month. Next week we got Cheryl Woodhouse and all of her dance partners in the house. I love y'all. Great show. See you next week. Love you, boo.
The pride of every hour. Niggas of those funky things to play with. Great tunes. The march
You don't feel good now. I don't know what to tell you. My main man, Tim, was with us today, man. I love you, Mr. Kelly. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. Your guidance, your strength, your love. And
peace out.
You, and blessings to your sister. And we will keep her in our prayers. And God bless you for doing that. You're an amazing human being. I'll be calling you later. I'll send out a thank you post as I always do. But I'll be calling you later, and we can talk about some things when I get a minute, man, because there's some things that I write down all the time. You see me writing and texting. I'm putting notes in so I can talk to you about it, privately. So
no problem. No problem. I'll be here.
All right, man.
We send love to Donald McCoy as well.
That's right. Mark, can you get us off the air, please, sir? Thank